Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. I came to believe that in some very specific ways, life, like golf, is a game, and that the people who know the rules and know them well play it best and succeed. And the rule in life that has unprecedented power is that the individual who knows the right people for the right reasons and utilizes the power of these relationships can become a member of the club where he started out as a caddy or not. This realization came with some empowering implications. To achieve your goals in life, I realized it matters less how smart you are, how much innate talent you're born with, or even most eye opening to me, where you came from and how much you started out with. Sure, all these things are important, but they mean little if you don't understand one thing. You can't get there alone. In fact, you can't get very far at all. Studies indicate that well over 50% of Americans are unhappy at work. Many of these people are doing well, but they are doing well at something they don't enjoy. How we got ourselves into such a situation isn't difficult to understand. People get overwhelmed by the decisions they have to make about their jobs, their families, their businesses, their future. There are too many choices, it seems. We end up shifting our focus to talents we don't have and that don't quite fit. Many, many of us respond by simply falling into whatever comes down the pipe without ever asking ourselves some very important questions. Have you ever sat down and thought seriously about what you truly love, what you're good at, what you want to accomplish in life? What are the obstacles that are stopping you? Most people don't. They accept what they should be doing rather than take the time to figure out what they want to be doing. We all have our own loves, insecurities, strengths, weaknesses, and unique capabilities. And we have to take those into account in figuring out where our talents and desires intersect. That intersection is what I call your blue flame, where passion and ability come together. When that blue flame is ignited within a person, it is a powerful force in getting you where you want to go. I think of the blue flame as a convergence of mission and passion founded on a realistic self assessment of your abilities. It helps determine your life's purpose, from taking care of the elderly to becoming a mother, from being a top engineer to becoming a writer or a musician. I believe everyone has a distinct mission inside of her or him, one that has the capacity to inspire. Joseph Campbell, who coined the phrase follow your bliss in the early 1900s, was a graduate student at Columbia University. His blue flame, he decided, was the story of Greek mythology. When he was told there was no such major, he devised his own plan. So, how do you figure out your bliss? Campbell believed that deep within each person, there's an intuitive knowledge of what he or she wants most in life. We only have to look for it. Well, I agree with Dr. Campbell. All good decisions, I'm convinced, come from good information. Deciding on your passion, your bliss, your blue flame is no different. There are two aspects to getting good information. One part comes from within you, the other part comes from those around you. The tool I use is something I call the networking action plan. The plan is separated into three distinct parts. The first part is devoted to the development of the goals that will help you fulfill your mission. The second part is devoted to connecting those goals to the people, places, and things that will help you get the job done. And the third part helps you determine the best way to reach out to the people who will help you to accomplish your goals. It's a bare bones, straightforward worksheet, but it has been extraordinarily helpful to me, my sales staff, and many of my friends. In the first section, I list what I'd like to accomplish 3 years from today. I then work backward in both 1 year and 3 month increments to develop mid and short-term goals that will help me reach my mission. Under each time frame, I create an A and B goal that will meaningfully contribute to where I want to be 3 years from now. But your goals must be in writing. Have the conviction to put your intentions to paper. An unwritten wish is just a dream. In writing, it's a commitment, a goal. Here are a few other criteria to consider when filling out your networking action plan, or NAP. Your goals must be specific. Vague, sweeping goals are too broad to be acted upon. They must be concrete and detailed. Know what steps you'll take to achieve your goal, date by which it will be achieved, and the measurement you'll use to gauge whether you've achieved the goal or not. Your goals must be believable. If you don't believe you can reach them, you won't. If your goal is to increase the revenues of your business to $5 million a year and you only achieve revenues of 1 million, you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead, set your goal at $500,000 for the year and beat the heck out of it. Your goals must be challenging and demanding. Step out of your comfort zone. Set goals that require risk and uncertainty. And when you achieve your goal, set another one. One of the best salesmen I've ever met is a man my father knew named Lyle, who sold books door to door. He would set annual goals for himself, write them down, and place them wherever he could see, in his wallet, on his refrigerator, in his desk. And inevitably, he reached his goal months ahead of schedule. Then he'd simply write down another one. The man was never satisfied. What matters is the goal setting. Lyle would say, not the goal getting. He may have been the only door-to-door book salesman in Pennsylvania, or anywhere else for that matter, who died a rich man. Next, take action. It's called a networking action plan for a reason. To prepare yourself to a marathon, you must get out there and jog every day. With a plan in place, it's up to you to start reaching out every day. From Clinton, 2 lessons are clear. First, the more specific you are about where you want to go in life, the easier it becomes to develop a networking strategy to get there. Second, be sensitive to making a real connection in your interactions with others. There's almost an expectation among us that whoever becomes rich or powerful can be forgiven for high-handed behavior. Clinton illustrates how charming and popular you can become and remain when you treat everyone you meet with sincerity. There are a number of things that you can do to harness the power of your pre-existing network. Have you investigated the friends and contacts of your parents? How about your siblings, your friends from college and grad school? What about your church, bowling league, or gym? How about your doctor, or lawyer, realtor, or broker? In business, we often say that your best customers are the customers you have now. In other words, your most successful sales leads come from the selling you've already done. The highest returns don't come from new sales. They come on top of the customer base you've already established. It's easiest to reach out to those people who are at least tangentially part of your network. My father simply couldn't be embarrassed when it came to fulfilling his family needs. I remember once we were driving down the road to our home when Dad spotted a broken big wheel tricycle in someone's trash. He stopped the car, picked it up, and knocked on the door of the home where the discarded toy lay waiting to be picked up. I spotted this big wheel in your trash, he told the owner. Do you mind if I take it? I think I can fix it. It would make me feel wonderful to give my son something like this. What guts. Can you imagine such a proud working class guy approaching that woman, essentially admitting he's so poor that he'd like to have her garbage? Oh, but that's not the half of it. Imagine how that woman felt having been given an opportunity to give such a gift to another person. It surely made her day. Of course, she gushed, explaining that her children were grown and that years had passed since the toy had been used. You're welcome to the bicycle. I have two. It's nice enough that I just couldn't throw it away. So we drove on. I had a new big wheel to ride and a bike to grow into. She had a smile and a fluttering heart that only benevolence breeds. And Dad had taught me that there is genius, even kindness, in being bold. Every time I start to set limits to what I can and can't do, or fear starts to creep into my thinking, I remember that big wheel tricycle. I remember myself how people with a low tolerance for risk, whose behavior is guided by fear, have a low propensity for success. The memories of those days have stuck with me. My father taught me that the worst anyone can say is no. If they choose not to give their time or their help, it's their loss. Find a role model. Here are a few things you can do today to make good on that commitment and get more comfortable about being audacious in social situations. Find a role model. We're predisposed to seek people out like us. Shy people tend to congregate with other shy people, and outgoing people congregate with outgoing people because they unconsciously affirm our own behaviors. But everyone knows that one person within their group of friends and associates who seems to engage others with little or no fear. If you're not yet ready to take the big leap of addressing new people on your own, let these people help you and show you the way. Learn to speak. Get involved. You'll feel more comfortable when you're with somebody to enjoy with others who shares your enthusiasm. Get therapy. I know, you're probably thinking, how does therapy help me become better at talking with people? One, I think merely acting on the desire is very important. Just do it. I found the script helpful. I think it can help a lot of you as well, and I gratefully offer it to you here. One, state the situation. You go right in and hit them with how you see it in the cold light of day without being too inflammatory or dramatic, says Rosenberg. She made it clear to the AMA that A, having no women speakers was wrong, and B, hiring her would be a step in the right direction. It makes sense that before you can speak persuasively, you need to know where you stand. 2, communicate your feelings. We downplay the influence of emotions in our day-to-day context, especially in the business world. We're told that vulnerability is a bad thing, and we should be wary of revealing our feelings. But as we gain comfort using I feel with others, our encounters take on depth and sincerity. Emotions are a gift of respect and caring to your listeners. 3, deliver the bottom line. This is the moment of truth when you state with utter clarity what it is you want. If you're going to put your neck on the line, you better know why. The truth is the longest route to a solution. The truth is the fastest route to a solution, but be realistic. While I knew Phil Knight of Nike wasn't going to buy anything based on one 5-minute conversation on a bus at Davos, I did make sure to get his email and tell him that I'd like to follow up with him again sometime. Then I did so. Use an open-ended question. A request that is expressed as a question, one that cannot be answered by yes or no, is less threatening. How do you feel about this? How can we solve this problem? Can we meet up again sometime soon? Do your homework. Whom you meet, how you meet them, and what they think of you afterwards should not be left to chance. As Winston Churchill would tell us, preparation is, if not the key to genius, then at least the key to sounding like a genius. Before I meet with any new people I've been thinking of introducing myself to, I research who they are and what their business is. I find out what's important to them, their hobbies, challenges, goals, inside their business and out. Before the meeting, I generally prepare or have my assistant prepare a one-page synopsis on the person I'm about to meet. The only criterion for what should be included is that I want to know what this person is like as a human being, what he or she feels strongly about, and what his or her proudest accomplishments are. Sure, you should also be up to date on what's happening within the company of the person you want to establish a relationship with. Did the person have a good or bad quarter? Do they have a new product? Trust me, all people naturally care, generally above and beyond anything else, about what it is they do. In 15 seconds, I used my 4 rules for what I call warm calling. 1, convey credibility by mentioning a familiar person or institution. 2, state your value proposition. 3, impart urgency and convenience by being prepared to do whatever it takes, whenever it takes, to meet the other person on his or her own terms. 4, be prepared to offer a compromise that secures a definite follow-up at a minimum. Your passion and the events you build around them will create deeper levels of intimacy. Pay attention to matching the event to the particular relationship you're trying to build. I've got an informal list of activities I use to keep in touch with my business and personal friends. Here are some things I'd like to do. 1, 15 minutes and a cup of coffee. It's quick, it's out of the office, and it's a great way to meet someone new. 2, conferences. If I'm attending a conference in, say, Seattle, I'll put out a list of people in the area I know or would like to know better and see if they might like to drop in for a particularly interesting keynote speech or dinner. 3, invite someone to share a workout or a hobby. 4, a quick early breakfast, lunch, drinks after work, or dinner together. There's nothing like food to break the ice. 5, invite someone to a special event. For me, a special event such as the theater, a book signing party, or a concert is made even more special if I bring along a few friends who I think might particularly enjoy the occasion. 6, entertaining at home. I view dinner parties at home as sacred. Do you want to stand out from the crowd? Then you'll be miles ahead by following up better and smarter than the hordes scrambling for the person's attention. The fact is, most people don't follow up very well, if at all. Good follow-up alone elevates you above 95% of your peers. The follow-up is the hammer and nails of your networking toolkit. In fact, follow-up is the key to success in any field. Making sure a new acquaintance retains your name and the favorable impression you've created is a process you should set in motion right after you've met someone. Creating a connection between any 2 people necessitates a certain level of intimacy. In 2 minutes, you need to look deeply into the other person's eyes and heart. Listen intently, ask questions that go beyond just business, and reveal a little about yourself in a way that introduces some vulnerability. Yes, vulnerability. It's contagious into the interaction. All these things come together to create a genuine connection. Not possible, you exclaim? But I've seen it done and I do it. The deep bump is not just theoretical mumbo jumbo. This is not the time to play hard to get. Keep a distance or play mysterious. These all too common reactions may work for the likes of Marlon Brando, but for the rest of us, Such poses, registers keep away in our prehistoric minds. Instead, we should take the initiative in creating the impression we want to give. People are wowed by social decisiveness when it's offered with compassion and warmth. How another person perceives you is determined by a number of things you do before you even utter your first word. First, give the person a hearty smile. It says, I'm approachable. Maintain a good balance of eye contact. If you maintain an unblinking stare 100% of the time, that qualifies as leering. That's plain scary. If you keep eye contact less than 70% of the time, you'll seem disinterested and rude. Somewhere in between is the balance you're looking for. Unfold your arms and relax. Crossing your arms can make you appear defensive or closed. It also signals tension. Relax. People will pick up your body language and react accordingly. Nod your head and lead in, but without invading the other person's space. You just want to show that you're engaged and interested. Be sincere. When you spend 5 seconds or 5 hours with a new contact or acquaintance, make the time count. In LA, where I live, eye darters are a party staple. They're constantly looking to and fro in an attempt to ferret out the most important person in the room. Frankly, it's a disgusting habit, and one that's sure to put off those around you. The surest way to become special in others' eyes is to make them feel special. The correlate, of course, is equally true. Make people feel insignificant, and your significance to them shall certainly diminish. Build your brand. Regardless of age, regardless of position, regardless of the business we happen to be in, all of us need to understand the importance of branding. We are CEOs of our own companies, me Inc. To be in business today, our most important job is to be head marketer for the brand called you, Tom Peters. As a marketing professional, I am keenly aware that perception drives reality and that we are all, in some sense, brands. I know how all my choices, what I wear, my conversational style, my hobbies, fashion, a distinctive identity. Image and identity have become increasingly important in our new economic order. With the digital sea swelling and sameness and overwhelmed in information, a powerful brand built not on a product, but on a personal message has become a competitive advantage. Your content will become the guiding star of your brand, helping to integrate all your connecting efforts around a uniform and powerful mission. Good personal brands do 3 highly significant things for your network of contacts. They provide a credible, distinctive, and trustworthy identity. They project a compelling message. They attract more and more people to you and your cause as you'll stand out in an increasingly cluttered world. As a result, you will find it easier than ever to win new friends and have more of a say in what you do, where you work. Great musicians know it. So do professional athletes and world-class CEOs. Successful people in nearly every field know that they can't be their best unless they have a good coach in their corner. And now the business world knows it too. In a fast-paced, fluid, and dynamic environment where flattened organizations made up of cross-functional teams must respond rapidly to change, mentoring is one of the most effective strategies to get the best out of each and every individual. Many companies have developed formal mentoring programs with the idea that sharing what you know and learning what others have to teach is just smart management. At Ferrazzi Greenlight, we have worked with many companies to create such formal programs with the idea that helping employees build relationships for career success reduces turnover and ultimately leads to stronger external relationships for net revenue growth as well. One of the more historically successful programs was established in 1997 at one of Intel's largest chip-making facilities in New Mexico. As noted author and speaker Rabbi Harold Kushner once wisely wrote, "Our souls are not hungry for fame, comfort, wealth, or power. Those rewards create almost as many problems as they solve. Our souls are hungry for meaning, for the sense that we have figured out how to live so that our lives matter, so the world will at least be a little different for our having passed through it." But it would take many more missing buttons before I truly started to ask myself that what meaning exactly my soul was hungry for. That time finally came with what I call my own personal mini revolution. Revolutions sometimes begin in the least likely of places with the least likely of heroes. Who could imagine that a small Indian man with a very strong accent could challenge what I wanted out of life and how I was going to attain it?